Sometimes I think how this journey started, how I became a seeker of truth. I don't claim that I have achieved what I have wanted. Why I'm sharing my experience with you, it is just because sometimes we all go through similar type of incidents in our life, but we never pay attention to this. We think that these are just an ordinary incidents. These are part and parcel of the life. But always remember, all extraordinary things are hidden in ordinary things only. When I look back and run through my last 20 years, it seems like all the incidents, either it is minor or major, is again appearing before me. If I summarize my last 20 years that I have spent, so this was basically a tussle, a fight between my mind and my identity. This continuous fight started giving me a lot of pain and grief, due to which I was unable to perform or concentrate on my regular and day-to-day work like studies and other aspects of life. Sooner, the grief and the pain become part of my life. Anyone can see the fight from your eyes. Sometimes your eyes works as a mirror of your being, or if anyone who is little aware about the identities, they can easily read what is going inside you. The major portion of last 20 years I spent in this grief, and sooner I started realizing that all this grief is generated by the thoughts. From nowhere, my mind is collecting all such thoughts. And in fact, I should say, mind was divided into two parts. One part was generating thought, and another part was fighting with this. This life gradually became my normal life, fighting within myself. But sooner I started realizing that there is someone inside me who is in grief, who is observing all these thoughts, who is observing the pain and who is feeling the pain. That was a flashing time for me, when I am becoming sure that I am something apart from my mind. I am something apart from my body. Because when my mind is fighting with my mind, when my body is feeling all the consequences of this fight, when my daily life is suffering, but who is stable in all this suffering? Who is just the witness of the suffering? In last 20 years, I grown from a child. My entire body changed, but something which is not changed, that was me. If me was a body, then with body it should also change. My thinking pattern had changed. Then who is that who has not changed in last 20 years? I think the time when this question arose inside me, that was my first step toward the spiritualism. I badly started searching who is me, who is not changing with all the passing years. And then one thing what I realized, that sometimes pain and grief are not your enemies. These work just as a mirror where you can see some faded image as a reflection, or you were unaware who is in that faded image. First time in that grief, in that pain, you were able to see someone who was completely ignored as of now. And that's why sometime I think in our culture, in the Hindu culture, the pain and grief has been given utmost importance. Lord Rama has left his adobe as a son of Dashrath, but after going all the pains in his 14 years, he became Maryada Purushottam Bhagwan Ram. The only one thing what transformed Ram from a human to Lord, that was the pain. And in this pain only, he was able to see himself that he is not just a human. There is something superhuman in him. And that pain became the key of the transformation. Coming to my experience, today I can definitely say what is the purpose of my life. My purpose of the life is not only to earn the money, to earn bread and butter for my family. That is not the purpose of my life. The purpose of my life, or the purpose of your life, and the purpose of everyone's life is to rediscover himself, like the journey of the Lord Ram, from the son of Dashrath, an ordinary human being, to an extraordinary godliness being, Lord Rama. I believe the story of Ramayana says to us that Lord Ram reincarnated in form of Dashrath's sons. But what does it mean? Is it just a story, or is it a history? Where I am seeing this, I think this is neither a history, neither a methodology. There are some precious information encrypted in the form of Ramayana. It says, everyone who takes birth here, he is himself a god. But after taking birth, he forgets his identity, and the entire purpose of the life is to regain that identity that we call as liberation. From taking birth to the liberation, that is the story of Ramayana. And in our life also, we are in the period of Varvas, where we are suffering from huge pain and grief. And the ultimate purpose of our life is to use this pain as a fuel and transform ourselves like Lord Rama did, and liberate ourselves at the end as a god. This is what I think is the purpose of the life. Otherwise, if you will see this life Scientists says this whole world is created by the Big Bang and the gradual evolution, but they are unable to explain where this Big Bang happened. If there was no universe, where this point was lying of Big Bang, and where the explosion happened. To explode something, there should be some space. If there was no space, even a dot cannot exist. Can you draw a dot without any space, without any plane? I believe the theory given by the science is completely false and misleading, because this world cannot be created from the Big Bang, and eventually, what is more important, science can only explain the cause. If we ask why apple falls to the ground, they will say it is a gravitation, but they won't explain where this gravitation came from. What they can explain is that because of the heavy metals inside the earth, there is a gravitation. Scientists will go one level deeper into electronic structure of the atom, which created the entire metal. But again, that answer will only generate one more question. It will not resolve the question. Because science will not explain how the basic constituent of an element is getting its property. Who has given this property to that element? How the concept of property came from? Who has decided the individual nature of an element? Every answer given by the science will generate few more questions. And on the other hand, religion says this world is created by the Almighty, who is sitting above. He has created us. But if God has created us, who has created the God? And if no one has created God, then why we can't be here without being created? Why there is a need of creator for us if there is no need of creator for the God? If God has created us, why He has wiped off this memory from us? Why we are still struggling to find where He is? Is He playing hide and seek with us? Why He never manifested Himself before us, whom we are praying day and night? I think if He is a God and if He has created us, then there is no need of playing this hide and seek. There is no need of creating pain and grief. Because if He is a God, He is our Father, and a father cannot see his son in grief and pain. Suppose you might say, all this pain and grief, it is created by you. It is your deed only for which you are paying. But if God is my Father, if God is the Almighty there, He could have stopped us from doing all these deeds. And in fact, when I do some bad deed, I don't know what is the punishment defined for this, and is there any God who is going to punish me? And everything which I say is good or bad, that is our definition. In our society, something might be good, something might be bad, and in some other society or some other geography, the same thing which you say is bad, that might be good there. I am not satisfied neither with the theory of science nor with the theory of religion. Neither God has created us, nor we are here by coincidence. And one more thing regarding Big Bang and the claim of science that this world is just from a coincidence. Suppose you close the doors of your house for 1,000 years. What are the chances that a new creation might be created there? I don't think any chance is there. At the max, something which is already created there that might get destroyed. So, what I wanted to say to you is that try to get dissatisfied with the ready made answers. Find your answers by yourself. You are the seed of the God. You need to grow like a God.